Hi, I'm DM Dan. We are Explorers of Elsewhere. This is live, as you can tell. We have returned to play some Daggerheart. We are ploughing our way through the new 1.4.2 open beta playtest, the Marauders of Windfall. If you've missed the first chunk, which was now 2 sessions, you can catch those on the Explorers of Elsewhere channel, somewhere down below in the Daggerheart playlist. Or if you just feel, crazy, you can just skip the first 2 episodes and just watch us now. Before I go any further, happy Independence Day, everyone. Let's hope things improve tomorrow. Yes.
Just different.
Yes. Let's hope things are different.
Same, but different.
Yes. No. Right. There's enough. More than enough of that. Who can remind me what happened last time?
We're on a big shippy ship.
Yes. Yes.
Big one. What's Livvy's doing? Why are you always flying? I was wondering, why Livvy was shaking her hands about. She was trying, no, sorry.
Yes, a big ship. So, you, having completed your objective in the Sablewoods, which was to deliver that to deliver the package, the secret package, you delivered it to the Whitefire Arcanist. You discovered that it was in fact a runestone from Capital City's gateway that protects it from magical incursions. So the fact that it was out of juice and that you were having it recharged, it turned out, was a mission of the utmost importance and secrecy and discretion, it would seem. A mission that was entrusted to the ever vigilant Professor Twig. After the ritual, you found out that there were other things to look into. So you boarded the RMS Windfall, one of the kingdom's newest ships of the line, with a new technologically marvelous engine. This was a bit of a prototype. The kingdom's looking to see if we can roll this out across the kingdom. And in exchange for your security detail, or providing security detail for the ship, as they were going to pick up new security in the near future, you have been allowed free pass on board. And to ensure that you didn't have to twiddle your thumbs too much, 2 wyverns very generously attacked the ship. You managed to quadly-handedly fend them off, whilst the crew and the captain managed to fend off the second. And you have been your martial prowess has been praised by the captain of the ship, a certain Commander Augustus Kane. And you have been invited to dinner. There was a bit of downtime before that, so you managed to squeeze in a long rest to kind of process everything that's happened. Twig's having an emotionally shoddy time, but Twig and Goru, you managed to bond over the repairing of armor, and all sorts of cute and wonderful things happened. I think that's about it. So, before we kick off, we rejoin you. Well, I say before we kick off, we rejoin you on the ship. And where do we find the 4 of you? Sort of in your respective quarters, or are you kind of up on deck, or are you whereabouts on the ship are you? And just to make it a bit more atmospheric. Let's have some music.
Mosaic.
Do we just have a short rest?
A
last
short rest,
session?
correct.
Okay. Good
Yes.
to know.
So, yeah, hopefully you're not going to get drowned out by Foundry. But yeah, whereabouts on the ship do we find you? Let me just move you across.
See.
Bam.
Are we all congregating together before we go to the captain's quarters? Because that's where we got invited to last time.
Yeah, I mean, this you won't have like particularly long. It's already kind of getting a bit late. Like the sun is certainly creeping down towards the horizon as sunset beckons. So you know that very soon it will be dinner time.
Dinner time.
And in fact, you can smell even with sort of like the clouds kind of gently, well, not so gently to be fair, because the RMS Windfall moves at quite a pace. So despite the clouds kind of rolling past you with seemingly some urgency, you can smell the distinctive smells of sort of like cooked, smoked meats and like, you know, long life vegetables being put together by the crew's cook, just kind of wafting up through the floorboards.
We notice the crew member, or the crew, having a bit more of a better impression of our characters after that battle.
You do indeed, yes. So having like where you are on the prow of the ship, or where you were, I should say, on the prow of the ship, there are telltale signs of the recent Wyvern attack. And for anyone that kind of goes to explore the observation deck towards the back of the ship, notices that there are similar, if not kind of more, like scratches to the woodwork, cracked timbers, you know, blood stains on the like from claw swipes, you notice. But yeah, since you managed to actually kind of defeat and kill your wyvern, but the crew on the other end of the ship managed to just drive theirs off. But yeah, the crew seem impressed. You see them kind of giving you not bad Obama nods as you sort of like pass them, as they, and you know, the captain has congratulated you and quite vocally invited you to dinner, which seems to have carried a fair degree of weight with the crew.
Well, I guess if it's nearing food time, I guess from our various locations. I guess if it's nearing sort of talking, repairing, I guess we would all start convening towards the mess hall, repairing deck, whatever it's called.
Sorry, I had a moment there. Reconvene to
The
Mess hall.
The mess hall.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So let me switch to the map for the players. Something I think I woefully forgot to mention. So I did a little scroll out of this wonderful map of the airship, courtesy of channel favourite Birdie Maps. Thank you, Birdie, for some amazing stuff. And if you like what he's doing, make sure to check out his Patreon, Birdie Maps. Patreon.com/Birdie Maps, for just some amazing stuff that comes out every month at a extremely reasonable price. Yeah, thank you very much. So, yes, we find you back on the deck, but if you wanted to head to towards this door over here, that will take you down to will take you inside. Let me scroll to you. So we So as you go, for those of you that go through the door, you've had some time to explore already, but there's a staircase immediately in front of you, doors either side that lead to the captain's quarters. Heading down that staircase brings you to the first the first sub level of the ship, where you can see that there are a number of crewmates and the other passengers on the ship just kind of sat around. Some of them seem to be just kind of catching their breath after the wyvern attack. You can still actually some time would have passed, so these passengers are sat at the tables kind of tucking into kind of like relatively rudimentary but hearty looking meals. But that, there's arguably nothing stopping you from tucking in yourselves, but you know that you've got a meal with the captain soon, and presumably that's a little bit later. But further down the corridors are your rooms. Almost the VIP suites, if you will. Where you have been figuring out whether you're topping and tailing or not. So,
let's be honest.
While Greg investigates the bathroom,
Oh, where's my room?
and then the latrine.
That's not my room.
This is your room.
Yes. Yes. So, Ruby calls down the hole from you that your room is one door further down, like back the way you came.
I'm bloody locked in. Can't get out. There it is. Bloody hell. Told you, ain't got air legs.
Carnage.
Got sea legs.
You give them a map and they go bonkers. So tell you what.
Not so much the map, it's the doors.
It's the doors.
Like, last map didn't have doors. We can get lost. We can look ourselves in.
So, Twig, as I move you over here, you see the Scooby-Doo affair of running between doors. Like your companions just kind of going in and out, coming out doorways that you didn't see them go in of. But it seems like a sense of normality has returned to the ship. Even though it was only a few hours ago, it's almost as if the wyvern attack, the memory of the wyvern attack has been forgotten. But how are you feeling? Because you had a particularly close dice with death when it came to the wyvern.
It's okay. I feel like it's very sort of starting to get used to with the danger. Like it's been a few things now. So are you struggling to hear me? I promise I am talking as high as I can. My voice is also breaking, so having a fun time. But yes, he's trying really hard to make sure that, stable, he's calm, he's not panicking, and he's just glad that everyone seems settled. He's definitely glad everyone seems okay.
Okay. I just wonder if...
Seems settled. Definitely glad everyone seems okay.
Okay. I just want to quickly take a moment.
Seems settled.
If I could get everyone else to make some noise for me.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
But make some noise for me.
Nathan's eating snackies. Hello. Hello. He's got Cheetos.
Hello.
But make some noise for me.
Nathan's eating snackies. Hello. He's got Cheetos.
But make some noise for me.
Nathan's eating snackies. Hello.
Okay,
He's got
right.
Cheetos.
Right. Oh, it's horrendous listening to a loop of yourself talking. Right, I think we've got our audio balanced. Sophia, you should now be audible to the whole wide world.
Okay. Is this any better? Are
Yes.
we good? Are we not good? Thank you. Okay. Yes. Twig is feeling like a bit calmer now. Any better? Was quite
Yes.
scary. Are we dealing with the wyvern? But, he's feeling a lot more confident now. Like, his friends battle things. And even though his magic is still a bit erratic and situations are different, feeling like, despite this, they are getting through it. So realistically, logically, they are doing okay. If they were failing, if people were dying, he'd be a bit not so calm. But everyone is alive.
Sure.
It's fine. That's how he's telling himself that it's okay.
Sure. So like relying on a trust in the process kind of mindset.
Trust in the process. Everyone else seems to be chill. You should
Sure.
also be chill.
Amazing. Okay. So, in which case, yeah, as you yourself are feeling a bit more kind of calm and collected. Yeah, is there anything that you lot want to do, like very, very short term, very, very quick before you're called to dinner? Like any
Where are you,
conversations you want
Twig?
to have?
Are you downstairs? Are you with us?
I am kind of like hovering nearby. I'm like watching you guys deal with it. I'm just I'm just down between the tables.
You've seen Greg like running room to room in search of something, and he comes out, and he's like, "Oi! Oh no, I'm going Bristolian." Exactly.
You
what he says.
slag.
You slag. Comes up to Twig and he's found like a shirt from somebody else to see if he wants to change his clothes after he got covered in blood. And he's like, "Oh, I know how to get out bloodstains. It's fine. Just give me that. Give me those. Change it to this. It's about your size, isn't it? What about, it's just like a massive shirt."
That's very kind of you. I should be able to, and like he thinks about the fact that he could just cast. That's very kind of you and clean his clothes. But Greg is being so nice, doesn't want to upset him. So he's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll get changed. Yeah, this is lovely. Thank you." He's like, so yeah, so he opts to change into, I assume, someone's very dirty shirt. Probably.
Well, better than blood, isn't it? The best thing to get out blood. He just spits. Just
Are you giving it a bit of that hot tour?
yeah, I'm going the fuck tour. And I'm fuck touring. Just
Okay.
Just take
shall we
shirt.
do it in the guild, innit? Just wash it. I'll get it clean. That's actually true. The best way to get our blood is spit. The enzymes.
Oh, what, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I like that. Oh, no. Oh,
Facts. Facts.
no. Okay, well, so as that's happening, Ruby, Goru, are you doing any quick kind of natters before you head on? Oh, you're muted, Nate.
Sorry about that. I keep on sneezing and sniffling, and I don't want to do it on mic, so I do apologise. Ruby is gonna go up to Goru, and she's gonna say, gonna go up to Goru. You are quite all right with sleeping on the floor, aren't you? I mean, she's gonna say, I'm not gonna go up to Goru. You are quite all right with sleeping on the floor. Be on the bed. It's big enough.
Goral chuckles for a moment. Queen, you, me, and then look around. The planks of wood. Queen, you, I'm worried I will break the bed. So, I'm used to sleeping in my shell. As he's tapping his big, hulking, sort of slightly spiky surface shell, covered in dabs of moss.
Ruby's gonna nod and go, well, I mean, okay, if that's what you want, I'm not gonna...
appreciate it. Truly.
She's also going to tap your shell and go, yes, it's pretty nice.
I've gained some new moss since our travels.
Like it.
If you do happen to have any more of those unique mushrooms, just like the one on my shell that you've given me before, do pass them my way. I'm quite fond of them.
Well, I'll definitely keep an eye out. It's not really the environment up here for those types of mushrooms, but I'll definitely keep an eye out.
Well, it's all magic, isn't it? Everything around in the sky, this giant ship, magic. I'm sure it will be fine. As Goru's massive fingers just gently tap you on the shoulder in appreciation. Shall we find the others and make our way?
Oh, yes, I am very, very hungry.
Me too. As he stumbles out, crawling through the door, archway of the door.
In which case, you very quickly find, you walk into, like, the next room to find Twig and Greg, and, like, Twig's back is to you, and you can see on the other side of Twig, is Greg, currently on his knees. And there's, like, frantic movement, and you hear Greg presumably going, I've nearly got it out.
nearly
got there.
Close the door.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And I look at Ruby, just really, like, sort of a bit of turquoise blushing. Are they your thing?
She just shrugs.
I don't judge, but I did not expect to catch them in the action.
All I'm just saying is that they better hurry up, because we're going to have dinner soon.
Try be quick in there.
So,
Greg just bursts out, just smoking a cigarette.
So with that in mind, we smash cut to early evening arrives, and banners, awards, and a large painting of a battle fill the walls of the commander's quarters. At the back stands a sturdy desk beneath a stained glass window that catches the last glow of twilight. Magically lit sconces cast the room in warm tones. At the centre of the room is a heavy oak table 12 feet long with matching carved seats. The other passengers are already seated in the common mess hall, but you have a private audience with Commander Kane and his officers over fine liquors. You have a private audience with Commander Kane and his officers over fine liquors. So, yes, between the four of you, just to very quickly re-highlight. I'm not entirely sure. I displayed this, but we have the studious Commander Kane, the ever loyal and traditional commander. We have sat to his... Oh, I've actually done it. Sat to his right. Sat to his right is the imposing figure of his lieutenant commander, his first mate, Kales, the orc. And to his left is Melandra Silver, who, Twig, you know from your days back in Capital City, an elf with like thick, curly black hair, who just kind of always looks like she's kind of busy, like she's always thinking about 3 problems at all times. But yeah, the 3 of them sit at that one end of the table. Obviously, the Captain Kane at the end with his ship mage and his first mate flanking him, and you find yourselves either side of the table, down from him. And so yeah, you know the space you're in is quite spacious. There's a very kind of dignified feel to the meal. You can hear the sounds and clatterings of the ship's cook, kind of moving around at the far end, like at the back of the ship basically, and preparing your meals and then serving up to you on kind of large platters. But yeah, the smell of the rich food mixes with this very fine sherry that is laid out in the goblets in front of you. I must say, the captain starts, I had my reservations about letting you on this ship without payment, but it would seem that you have truly paid your weight in gold with defending those wyverns, defending against that wyvern, and I applaud and thank you.
Was anyone of your other crew members hurt during the assault?
A few of the crewmates took some light injuries. One, scratches. One was bitten on the leg, but otherwise they'll walk it off. I pride the crew of the Windfall for their swift recoveries.
It is good to hear that there wasn't any real casualties among your crew. We are just glad to do our bit and keep the people on this ship in good spirit.
As he sort of takes a handful of food and sort of...
So you get like wyverns a lot, like is this a regular occurrence? Is this like a regular thing with air travel? Seems a bit dangerous, doesn't it?
The captain goes to speak, but then sort of like catches himself and then like gestures a hand to his first mate. And she looks to you and... There are suspicions that any time you set foot on some sort of naval or aerial transport, you are inevitably attacked by some sort of native predator of the mode of travel. But I can assure you that attacks are relatively far and few between. It's the world is not replete with wyverns, so wyvern attacks are fortunately quite infrequent. Today is a day of good and bad luck. We were unfortunate to have drawn the attentions of not one but two, a mated pair, I would have assumed.
Not anymore.
The orc grins and like wiggles her eyebrows at you. But we were fortunate to have persons of your considerable strength aboard.
It's not the first time I've said I've got considerable strength. It's quite often I get told I've got considerable strength. All time, actually.
Melandra picks up after you, and like turns to you, Twig. I must say, this is a far cry from what I remember your duties that you were participating in back in Capital City. Have you, she says, like kind of looking at the four of you, have you been adventuring for long?
Not necessarily. Running an errand. Really wonderful crew. Just team here. They all have their own exploits, their own skills and talents. I'm very proud to have them.
She nods, and like turning to you each in turn, her gaze stops on you, Ruby. I from what I saw, you are quite well versed with air sorcery. Have you never considered becoming an airship mage yourself?
She sort of smiles and kind of goes like, well, as much as travel is always been my thing, I'm much more suited on the ground, as you can see. Air travel is not really, as much as I am a sorcerer of the air elements. I believe that all of the elements have to work in harmony. So solely staying in one or the other doesn't quite suit me.
She nods. Like she nods and then is sort of like, the two of you are both shocked as the orc, there's the sound of a loud clap as the orc kind of claps a hand on your left shoulder, Goru. I didn't really see much of what you were doing, but from the sounds of it, you really showed that wyvern what for. How much is that sword that you wield? It must be enormously heavy.
Well, I have had some years to build up my strength to lift that sword.
And I give him a sort of jovial pat on the back as well, in jest.
Goru, what about Kales's behaviour or body language tells you that she would be a worthy foe?
Of Kales's body language.
So the half-orc next to you.
It's from the body language, I think. Obviously, you can see that the orc's got natural hard worked. There's a difference between sort of muscles that you've built for show and muscles that have been gained through sheer labor of work. But it's not just the strength, but you can definitely see the athletic, like the slight litheness of the body that does, like, there's for someone who does know combat, or it knows to take many punches, as Goro does, Goro with some level of insight can gauge that this foe knows how to move around a battlefield like a swashbuckler would do.
Yeah. Okay.
Using that strength to use precise cuts on their foes.
Interesting. But yeah, the orc, having clapped like her back on the shoulder. Yeah, she certainly seems like what you glance across to the commander, you notice that these two are both strong, just in sort of like different ways. One's strong of arm, one is strong of will, because there's a certain kind of aura that Commander Kane gives off, and the captain looks to you, Greg. He's looking to you. I can only assume that you're just sat there with a cigarette kind of hanging out your mouth.
I'm both smoking and eating at the same time.
Sure.
I don't think Greg has any taste buds left. I don't think he just does nothing.
Okay, well, I mean, in which case you would 100% notice that Commander Kane is watching you. Before
what, not smoking here or something? The
commander kind of dismisses the notion, and well, I was more curious to know how you're finding working with a team.
What, do I not look like a team player?
You strike me as someone who values your independence.
Yeah, well, I value the lion's share. That's what you mean. But no, I've worked with gangs, syndicate, friend. I've worked with people all my life.
He nods. Trustworthy people, one assumes.
Well, as trustworthy as me. We're never going to trust one another. We all, I trust them that they'll probably stab me in the back just as much as they trust that I'd stab them in the back. That's like the honour amongst thieves, isn't it? You just whatever.
Ori tries to interject with the captain.
If I may, Captain, I trust Greg. Though Greg might give off a certain demeanor to some, I trust Greg to do what needs to be done.
Nods and grabs a ham hock with his claw. Just drags it towards him on the table.
Are you sure you're not using your tongue?
Yeah. No, save that for damage only.
Okay, right, I see. Well, as sort of like Goru steps in to diffuse ? Like that line of inquiry. Greg, what in this moment? What is it about the captain that reminds you of a crime boss you used to know?
His. Yeah, I think that's that. It's the. He feels like he gets what he wants, and he will find a way to get what he wants. Not necessarily. Like, I think it's like when you get those like high up kingpins that look clean cut, couldn't get an ounce on them, will never go to jail, but feel like they probably have their hands in many pies. And I think Greg doesn't really like that because he likes an honest crook in which you're honest about being a crook. And I feel like he's a bit like, I think this guy would stab a man in the back, but not admit to stabbing a man in the back.
Sure. In which case, yeah, as you kind of, as you reason that kind of in your mind, like the main course arrives and you all begin kind of tucking in, and like there's that initial moments of silence as everyone starts tucking into just a good meal. But when you have dinner with friends and then like you're all just ploughing in and it just tastes really quiet, and there's that quiet that kind of falls over the table. But as you, Greg, the crook you could trust to be a crook, yes, absolutely, he does what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
But like, so after you have your first few mouthfuls and some of your food starts disappearing, you notice even amongst the four of you and the three like senior members of the crew, everyone at the dinner table is paying close attention, and hopefully is on their best behaviour. You could hear a fork. You could hear a fork drop in these moments. But there's still that sort of like that fence of order that kind of surrounds it. But as you kind of really start digging in, have any of you four got questions for the captain and their crew?
Like nobody's allowed in the engine room, he says. What's down there?
I feel like Drake just stinks a little bit.
Yeah, he's got his legs up on the table, just having a smoke. What's up with that? It's a bit weird, isn't it? So I look between all of them.
The captain fixes you with a very stern stare. And Melandra, like chokes as she, from the forthrightness of your statement. And, she kind of pats herself on the chest a few moments just to clear her choking.
Yeah, it's a bit spicy, those potatoes, isn't it?
We would prefer that the engine room is currently off bounds to all but the crew of the ship.
Well, we're the crew now, aren't we?
Well, we would still consider you passengers in that capacity. The silver engine that powers this ship is extremely delicate, and we're currently going through a series of stress tests. We don't want to invalidate or jeopardize the data collection. And she looks to you, Twig. You understand where I'm coming from, don't you?
Of course, all magic be tested and figured out. I understand. It's just, but I also understand what my colleague is saying. As part of the crew, we need to go in to defend it. We should be allowed some, sway. Maybe some information would be useful, at least, if we're not allowed to enter the room, just so we know what we're dealing with if there is an issue. Clarity is always... and I think Twig, quite desperately tries to figure out, how best to approach this. He looks at Wanda Kane very quietly, but kind of as intelligently as possible, says something like, "Do not send a soldier into battle without the details. We are your soldiers while we're on the ship. The more details you can give us, the better soldiers we can be for you.
You say this to Commander Kane, and presumably because you're being quite heartfelt with this, so I'm guessing you're doing your best to maintain eye contact. It's withering. The other three of you, yeah, he's just like his pupils narrow to dagger points, and the other three of you notice that he's kind of leaning back on one elbow on the arm of his chair, and with his other arm, he's begun turning, like spinning his sherry glass round by the stem, and like the longer Twig talks and like reasons, the faster the sherry glass turns, and to a point where he grips the stem of the glass with two hands, and there's a snap, and the top of the sherry glass tumbles and spills this fine sherry across the table. And Kalis, the first mate, like looks, like snaps to attention. Melandra, like jumps at the sound of the breaking glass. But Commander Kane is still staring directly at you, as if nothing had happened. The ship mage said that it was off bounds, so it is off bounds. And I am going to spend a fear, because it would seem that the captain does not care for your tone, and I need all four of you to mark a stress.
This guy's no fun at all, is he?
So yeah, he publicly rebukes you.
Wow, it didn't.
Yeah,
all right, no need to get your knickers in a twist, Jesus.
You collectively now have disadvantage on any presence rolls for the rest of the scene, because the manner of the captain has suddenly soured.
I was only joshing you, mate. I just want to know if it was made of silver or not.
Is there a way to gauge why he's reacted that way, considering the heartfelt, genuine plea of Twig doesn't warrant such a strange reaction such as that? Is there a way to read him to say, is he purposely hiding something that might be of danger to us, or...
Roll me a presence check. So with disadvantage, because this man's now got this ironclad, like, poker face. He looks like a drill sergeant right now, just like clenching on his back teeth, the flared nostrils. Yeah, so presence with disadvantage.
Okay, let me just roll my... and then I'll roll my d6. Oh no, I rolled a 5. So, together that would have been 12 plus 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That would have been 20. So 15 with hope.
Okay. So you gain a hope.
With the advantage.
But, like, Goru, I imagine Goru's a bit of a sedimentary? What word am I trying to... You're a very stoic individual. So, like, arguably, you just staring at someone is less noticeable than, say, like, Twig or Ruby or Greg staring at someone.
Yeah, these little turtle eyes just staring.
And you can't quite read him. There's just... It's not... He doesn't particularly notice you. You roll with hope. But you just can't quite get the measure of this man. what you do get is very much a case of, he said it's this, so therefore it is this. Like, it is authoritarian to a T.
Before anything gets a bit worse, Goru will try and desensitize the situation a little bit, and so.
We mean no offense, Captain. Do not mistake us for rudeness. We just want to make sure that we can be of best use for you and your crew. No offense, of course.
Sorry, I'm just going to quickly skip back in, beg your pardon. Is your instinct any higher?
No.
Okay, fine. It was an instinct roll I should have asked for.
Oh, sorry, I did.
Not presence.
I was thinking that, and then I was like, but the presence actually works in my favor.
Yeah. Okay, so instinct, yeah. So yeah, you can't quite read him. Like, as you kind of offer this apology, the captain just nods, and like quietly thanks the chef as the chef kind of comes along, mops up that dabs at the spilt sherry with the dish rag, and then gives the captain a new glass. But yeah, the captain just kind of sinks back into his chair, as I say, just kind of like leaning back on one elbow, just watching you. But he appears to be like watching you now. Anyone else want to break this tension? Ruby?
I think Ruby's going to try and, sort of de-escalate sort of like the tension in the room. She's going to grab a couple of napkins and she's going to try and do some like, just do some sort of like
table
minor
magic.
illusion. Just table magic, basically.
Just when you put a knife behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, but fantasy-like, yeah, she's going to do some table magic with sort of like the napkins and maybe some lettuce that's sort of around. I want to use my experience of cool party tricks.
Tailor-made for this exact scenario.
to make it look really cool.
Yep. Tell you what, you tell me what like stat you're using.
I guess it would be
Performance in this one?
There's no performance thing. I guess it would.
Yeah, there
be...
is presence. It's performance.
Presence is performance.
Presence,
Cool.
okay.
Use presence then.
Use presence with disadvantage because there's a sourpuss at the end of the table.
Okay. So that is like just what Dan did. Just roll the d6 and then take that off.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Oh.
Oh.
Oh!
I get a +1 on that for my cool party trick as well.
Sure.
So that would be a 4 with fear.
Okay, a 4 with fear. Well, I'm gonna put one up in there. If a magic trick could be personified as a wet fart in an elevator.
I feel like in a fantasy land where magic is real and magic is everywhere, it would be the spoon behind the napkin. I turn one of the napkins into a chicken that you can do, where you roll it up and it becomes like a boiled chicken. I turn it into a bra. And I go,
It's Greg clapping. Yay! I love it when she does that one. That's brilliant.
Twig, you notice Melandra just like Oh. Covering her face with her hand.
This is too much. It's like real life.
But she does, like, having seen this this very good magical performance, she claps for you. Very, very good, Ruby, she says. She looks to you. Well, sorry, you notice her looking at the first mate, like Kaless, and like the elf is kind of like raising her eyebrows in an inquisitive kind of way. And like, you see the half-orc like discreetly like shaking her head before the elf turns to look to you, Ruby, and you, Twig. I was wondering, given that the two of you are magically proficient, if you might in fact be able to, well, magically proficient, and then she pauses and glances at you for a second, Ruby.
Still holding the bra.
But I was wondering if I might ask an opinion, ask you a question. And she turns around, she ruffles through like the knapsack that she's got with her, and she produces what looks like a small portable atlas of sorts, but it's like gold banded, made of kind of a glassy like material. And the two of you, tell you what, the two of you roll me some sort of like arcane knowledge check.
Yeah, I guess that would be knowledge.
Knowledge, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be knowledge.
Do you still want us to roll disadvantage on it?
No,
So that's just presence.
I have a 6.
That
Actually,
is a 13 for me in hope.
and that's a 6 in hope and a 6 in fear. 2. Oh no, 6. Oh, well, hang on. There's 2 top of winning. So
Oh, so
it hope of 4, 6 fear. 2.
Say that again for you.
If I've got a +2 knowledge, does that
Yeah.
go on top of winning? So
If you've got, yeah.
it'll be an 8 in fear then.
Okay. And sorry, what was yours, Nate? Total?
If we're adding them all together, it'll be a 13 with hope.
13 with hope. Okay. So, both of you would recognise the apparatus she's holding as an astrolabe, which is effectively it's a magical artifact that when you activate it, creates a illusionary map. So you would know that like astrologers and like people who study cosmic movements will use these a lot to create like a map of sort of like constellations of the night sky that you can, you know, it physically kind of broadcasts it out so you can kind of move around it. But yeah, so she's holding this in her hand, and we found this, and it's quite important to our current mission. But if the gods will it, I cannot for the life of me figure out how to activate it. Perhaps you might have a go?
Yeah, we're more than happy enough to take a look.
Okay. In which case, yeah, if either of you want to try, please roll me a finesse or knowledge check.
Also remember, if you want to aid the other person, you can always spend a hope to give the person a d6 on that roll.
I would, but I have no hope. Oh, I do have one. I just gained one. Yay!
Yay.
Yeah, you got
Just
one
throwing
hope.
that mechanic out there.
I also have hope.
Yeah. So Twig's got 3, Ruby's got 1. Who, if either of you wants to help the other?
If I help, then there's not so much damage. So you're still hope.
Sure.
So
What? Sorry, I'm struggling to hear Fio.
sorry, I'm literally shouting at my laptop. I don't know how much. So I get +2 in knowledge. So I don't know what yours is at all.
My knowledge is a +1, so if I help you, then you can still use that +2 in knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that then, and then I will thank you another time.
Okay. So Ruby goes
Bring me
down to 0 hope. So yeah, Twig, if you roll me, knowledge or finesse. Well, knowledge, with a +d6. So 6.
God.
6 with hope plus.
1d6.
Also, if you've got any experiences you want to use as well.
I mean, I do have, I have know my stuff, which is basically abnormal arcane as a +1.
Okay, yeah,
Was
we
it
can have that.
Could
So-
I be cheeky as well and add my +1 in map making? In my experience?
Well, what I will say is, at this point, like, Twig, you're you're looking it over. You do gain a hope. You're looking it over, but you can't make heads or tails of it. The astrolabe itself is quite detailed, quite delicate. But you can't, like, you don't see any sort of, like, switches, you don't see any kind of activation runes or anything like that, and you're just kind of turning over in your hand, and you've got, like, Ruby going, oh, what about this? Oh, what about this? You're, in this moment, you're as stumped as Melandra currently looks. Ruby, if you want to have a go, so you can roll and then switch, so Twig is helping.
Let's have a roll. Doop-a-doo. Not any better. That's a 5, 7, 8 with hope.
Plus
your
D6.
Plus a d6, yeah, sure. A 1.
Okay. In which case, yeah. If you weren't told it was a magical artifact of some sort, you would both assume that it was just some, like, mantelpiece ornament. Because it looked very beautiful. But yeah, but I would argue, between the two of you, so Ruby, you get a hope. I mean, there's a part of you that wonders if it even works anymore. But yeah, Melandra's shoulders like sink a little bit. Never mind. It was worth a try, she says.
Well, I can have a look.
She looks to you and oh no, I'm sure it's fine, she says, and just puts it back in the knapsack.
I make all my own hands. I'm pretty, I'm pretty handy. Handy.
She goes to put it in the knapsack, and then she like sighs a little bit, and like looks to the captain. He's still stony faced, looking at you all, and she, okay, here you go, and then she offers it to you. So I'm assuming you want to make a finesse check.
Yes, please.
So do you put on your magic artifacts activating hand?
Wait a minute, love.
Is it a hand with the index finger extended?
It's just got like a little Phillips screwdriver on the end. Let's have a look at this then. Yeah, looks what it looks like. Looks like don't know what it looks like, love, but there we go. Have a little look.
Okay, so 21 with fear. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Twig and Ruby, between the two of you, I can only assume there's a it's Greg, you turn it over and you boop, like you press this little indentation.
Have you tried this button?
Or perhaps it's just a little twist of the base and
Is it Treasure Planet?
Say again, sorry?
It's like it's the Treasure Planet map in the film where they're just playing with it. Oh.
So, you activate, like, you do something, and like you're so nonchalant about playing with this artifact that you roll with fear, so you don't actually know what you did to activate it. So there's a moment of shock as suddenly this golden translucent map like explodes out of the astrolabe. And it takes you a moment to then be able to course correct and put on this face of like, I meant to do that.
Yeah, just like slightly cross-eyed as it's like blinded me in the face.
Yes. And like as you turn and twist this astrolabe, like the map shifts around slightly. And like you see the captain's eyes suddenly kind of open wide and he like in shock. And then the map fizzes and goes out and disappears. Well, we know it works, says the orc first mate. But between the four of you, I'll let you hash this out. What landmark on that map stood out to you to give you an idea of what the map was of? Like where it was of? What defining landmark was it at the centre of the map? Like the X that marked the spot for all intents and purposes.
Ooh. Okay. So we can just create a place.
Absolutely.
But just remind me, dear, where was our destination originally?
So you are heading. You lot are heading to. The ship is heading to the Kinakozan Jags, which is a very mountainous kind of area to pick up new recruits. But like where they're going after that, they didn't specify.
I was just going to spin off of that mountainous area and suggest to the group, how about something that's like maybe like an old dwarvish stronghold that juts off the side of a mountain that's well deep within the mountains, something that the airship can still navigate towards. Sure. But it's just this jutting, like it's a forgotten fortress, for saying, of dwarvish maybe.
Are we in favour?
It's cool.
Okay. Make it happen, Matt Mercer. Make it happen. Dwarven Fortress. Let's go.
That's what we want.
Okay, so yeah, you notice the telltale signs, presumably of these gargantuan, like mountain face carved dwarven statues, very kind of Lord of the Rings styly, just hewn from the side of the mountain, flanking this kind of dwarven hold, somewhere near the Kinakozan Jags. So presumably after they pick up their new security detail, presumably that's where they're heading next. It's not somewhere that like you would be getting off at the Jags, but yeah, it makes you ponder why they're heading there. But yeah, as they, like, there's a bit of a stunned silence in the room after the half after the orc. Well, it's working then, she says. When the captain seemingly kind of mellows for a moment and, well, I think that's... Thank you for your help. I think that's enough excitement for one evening, don't you all? He says, turning to look to you all. And then turns to Melandra and... We'll speak in my quarters. I'll give you 10 minutes, he says. And with that, the captain sort of like mops the corner of his mouth with his napkin and throws the napkin on the table, and then stands to leave. And as the four of you and the first mate and the ship mage kind of sit there looking a bit stunned at his sudden exit, there is the captain who's like halfway to the door already. There's a massive crunch on the ship, and the ship lurches to one side, and the captain staggers a few steps and has to put his hand out to catch himself on the wall. And like, unfortunately for you two, Goru and Twig, like all what was on the table shifts over to your side, and some of it clatters down onto your laps. But
Twig, you can't have a break.
You can never have a clean shirt, Twig. Never.
Clean shirt.
and
Now.
like before you've kind of righted yourself, the half orc has like surged to her feet, and as she does, that's paired with a sudden blaring of a magical alarm, boom, boom, through the ship, and you hear the sounds of like footsteps running in all directions, like overhead on the other side of the door. The door swings open ever so like suddenly, and one of the crewmates who's unexpectedly face to face with the captain. Pirates, Captain! It's pirates! He shouts. The captain snarls, and turns to the four of you, and with this look of grim determination on his face. Let's grab a quick break. Cool. So, we are going to go on break. It's going to be about... Do you reckon we could do 12 minutes back at 9:30?
12 minutes.
12 minutes. Beautiful. Okay, so... in which case, yeah, we will be back in 12 minutes, and we will find out what happens after. Oh, that was a beautiful ending, wasn't it? Right. See you all in a bit.
We'll find out what happens next, I guess, maybe.
I'm a professional. Bye.